The face of homelessness in the Topeka area. New numbers paint a different picture than you might think. Discussions over race relations bring strong language from the president and could bring a new look to South Carolina's capital.
He'd tell you every day he loved you.
A mother mourns her young son who drowned in a pool. And hear from a local nurse who joined the front lines of the fight against Ebola in Africa.
Good evening, 10 o'clock news time here on 13. Welcome in. I'm Ralph Hipp.
And I'm Melissa Bruner. Numbers out today show more than 400 people in Shawnee County are homeless. The number of them who are under the age of 18, though, might surprise you.
And it also only begins to tell the story of the number of area children who live in poverty in our area. 13's Justin Cernsey, new details here on the 10, talking with people at the Topeka Rescue Mission about the issue.
Ralph, each year the Topeka Rescue Mission attempts a head count of the county's homeless in an attempt to raise awareness and develop new programs to help better assist citizens living on the streets. While the majority of the homeless counted were male, a growing concern has become the children living without a roof above their head. Each year in January, Shawnee County's Homeless Task Force counts the number of people who are homeless. The final tally, released today, showed 403 are living without shelter. While 55% were adult males, the number of children under the age of 18 was 20%.
The highest percentage of increase in homelessness in the last 20 years has been children, 14 years and younger, then women and children. Last year alone, we had 326 children that stayed at the rescue mission.
In an effort to reverse some of those trends, the rescue mission has branched out its services into areas such as the High Crest neighborhood, where children could have a roof over their head, but may be living in poverty.
For 2 years now, we've been involved in NetReach for neighborhood empowerment and transformation as a pilot project to see what we could do to make a difference.
The mission is not alone in their efforts. A number of organizations, including the Salvation Army, have taken to the streets to offer free lunch during the summer months to anyone under the age of 18.
If we weren't doing this, that's 34 kids a week who wouldn't have gotten to eat food, so that's the awesome part about this program.
A brand new children's palace and youth center is being built just west of the Topeka Rescue Mission's Hope Center to provide the growing number of children in need a place they feel safe, where they'll be treated like royalty.
Really make this as the best experience as they can have while they're at this time in their life and at the rescue mission. And if we can reach the young people right now, wherever they are, whether in the shelter or before they get to a shelter, to help them, then the next 30 years in this community is going to be a lot brighter.
And while Barry Feeker says they are still $500,000 short of their overall goal, the Children's Palace should be completed by late December or early January, and you can help by donating. We'll post a link at WIBW.com.
And Justin, thank you very much. State administrators are moving forward with the restrictions on how people who receive welfare benefits could use their ATMs under the TANF program. That could take a year or more for the changes to actually happen. The welfare reform law that's taking effect July 1st limits the ATM withdrawals of temporary aid to needy families to $25 a day, one transaction per day. A follow-up measure allows the Secretary of DCF, the Department of Children and Families, to raise or rescind that limit to ensure the state doesn't lose any federal block grant funding. Secretary Phyllis Gilmore saying this Monday federal partners have given them no advice on the issue, so the state's contractor is actively working on technical adjustments to implement the law. It's expected to take 6 to 12 months to finish that. In addition, the Department of DCF today began notifying clients of the new 36-month lifetime limit on the TANF benefits that was reduced from had been 48 months.
South Carolina's governor and other political leaders tonight say it is time to retire the Confederate flag that flies over a war memorial at the state capitol. The move comes less than a week after a white gunman walked into a predominantly black church and shot 9 people to death. Marley Hall reports tonight from Columbia, South Carolina.
It's time to move the flag from the Capitol grounds.
South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley declared the Confederate flag flying over state property needs to come down. The move comes after 9 people were shot to death inside the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston last week. The white man arrested for the crime appears in photos holding the flag, using it as a symbol of white supremacy.
My hope is that by removing a symbol that divides us, we can move forward as a state in harmony, and we can honor the 9 blessed souls who are now in heaven.
But others say the flag represents history and should be left alone.
The flag didn't cause him to do that. Hate caused him to do that.
Civil rights leaders say the move is long overdue.
We are determined to bring the flag down, not because that will solve all the problems of race and division in this country, but it is an important step toward healing.
Governor Haley is urging lawmakers to take up the issue as soon as possible. She says if they don't, she'll call a special session of the legislature to force a resolution. 2/3 of the legislature must approve the flag's removal before it can come down.
The governor says the flag will always be a part of the soil of South Carolina. President Obama will travel to Charleston Friday to deliver the eulogy at the funeral of Reverend Clementa Pinckney. The pastor was among the 9 victims of the church massacre, which has started a new wave of soul searching about race in America. President Obama joined that conversation with unusually strong language. During a podcast interview in California, the president said the country is not cured of racism, and he used a heavily loaded word to make his point.
It's not just a matter of it not being polite to say nigger in public. That's not the measure of whether racism still exists or not. It's not just a matter of overt discrimination.
Charleston Mayor Joseph Riley has promised to fight the forces of racism to keep the community united. He said he agreed with the president's view, even if his use of the N-word was jarring.
Getting ahead of the racial disagreements was the goal of a meeting today in Topeka between the police department leaders and local ministers. The meeting came in the wake of those KKK flyers distributed in a Topeka neighborhood about a week ago. TPD Chief James Brown says the flyers did not imply hate crimes would be committed. They're looking for whoever posted them, though. Both groups say communication between communities and officers is key.
It was obviously concerning. You know, I've been here for 9 months and we've never seen any type of pamphlets like that in anybody's yard before.
But it's also a great thing as well because it affords us an opportunity to sit down and have some conversations that we might not have had these things not come out.
T.D. Hicks and Chief Brown will be at a conference in Washington next month with other state officials. They'll be talking over strategies to deal with and prevent racial problems. A mother mourning the death of her 10-year-old son who drowned in a pool in Ottawa, Kansas. The pool where Devin Lee Rice died has now been drained as police investigate what happened. Right now, both police and Devin's family say it's been a heartbreaking accident. Ottawa police were called out here Saturday night to Great Life Golf and Fitness on reports of a missing boy. Police found 10-year-old Devin submerged in the swimming pool at the facility.
No matter what. If he knew you, if he didn't know you, if he lightly got to know you, he'd tell you every day he loved you, he wanted the hug. He smiled every day, no matter if he was having a bad day or not. He wanted to probably do that one last swim, and I think what happened was he didn't realize he jumped too far into the deep end and he couldn't catch himself, or I think he panicked.
Devin Rice was set to begin his 5th grade classes come fall. Melissa?
A man facing similar child sex charges in 2 counties will be sentenced in one before entering his plea in another. 20-year-old Dallas Bond entered a no-contest plea last week in Brown County to kidnapping and possession of child pornography. Sentencing there is set for July 6th. After that, he has a July 10th appearance set in Jackson County Court, where he faces counts including rape, aggravated indecent liberties with a child, and aggravated kidnapping. Jackson County Attorney Shauna Miller says Bond is expected to enter a plea on the charges, and with that conviction in Brown County, could face a sentence up to 51 years in prison. Without the Brown County conviction, Miller says it would have been a 14-year maximum. A new lead in the search for 2 escaped killers on the run in New York more than 2 weeks now. Police say DNA evidence links escaped killers David Sweat and Richard Matt to a burglarized cabin in northern New York. At a news conference today, police would only say they recovered specific items from the cabin, and they warned seasonal cabin owners in that area to be on the lookout. As the manhunt moves forward, police confirm a second prison employee is now suspended in connection with the escape. Sweat and Matt are on the U.S. Marshals most wanted list.
Governor Brownback is looking to have more highway patrol troopers on our Kansas highways. When he was asked last week what areas of state government should receive more funding, Brownback named the highway patrol, but he didn't offer any specifics. KHP spokesman is Lieutenant Adam Winters and says the patrol is 1 law officer shy of having 400 troopers. The 399 is the lowest total in a decade, as no troopers were assigned to 21 Kansas counties at the end of 2014. 34 of our other counties only had 1 trooper.
Shawnee County commissioners and county department heads received a refresher course on Kansas open meetings and open records laws. Shawnee County Councilor Rich Eckert invited Melissa Wangamana from the Kansas Association of Counties to the Shawnee County Courthouse to provide that training. The COMA law guarantees anyone the right to observe governmental policymakers, such as your local school board or county commission, and CORA permits the public to review or get copies of public records. Wangamana says these refresher courses keep local officials out of trouble.
I think the Open Records Act and the Open Meetings Act are very important. It's important for the public to participate in their government, for any governmental official, including county officials, to have training on a regular basis on open meetings and open records so that they're aware of the law, mostly just so the public is informed of what's going on, but it's also to keep the county officials out of trouble.
Wangamana says the only way for the public to get involved is for them to be informed. Results are official now on a pair of votes over whether school districts can increase property taxes to boost their budgets. Shawnee County commissioners met today as the Board of Canvassers to certify the local option budget votes for the Topeka and Auburn-Washburn districts. In Topeka USD 501, voters approved raising the LOB, but only by 100 votes. Commissioners looked at more than 300 provisional ballots in that vote today, discarding 171 of them because the voter did not sign the ballot and another 22 because the signature did not match voter records. The measure failed in the Auburn-Washburn school district by more than 1,100 votes, but 90 provisional ballots were counted today, not affecting the outcome.
Melissa, we had heat indices well into the triple digits all over our area, and in some places the temperature was actually over 100 too.
Jeremy Goodwin is in the Weather Center to let us know if we can find any sort of a cool down in the week ahead. Jeremy?
Ralph, Melissa, and we're just really getting started on summer, but temperatures today were extremely hot. Let's check out the stats from Billard Airport this afternoon. 96, that was the official high temperature, not record setting, the record 101 back in 1933. You'll notice many of our records in the summer go back to 1933, 34, 35, and 36. That was really the Dust Bowl era. 1937, a few of our records go back to there as well. But extremely hot today. The average will be 87 for this day of the year, and we were scorching with that high temperature 99 in Manhattan. Salina made 104 this afternoon, and again, these temperatures are above normal. We are in summer, but a little ahead of schedule with those numbers. Right now, still 89 in Topeka, even after 10 p.m. at night. In Emporia, 83. It's 85 in Salina. Concordia has 79 for the latest temperatures and heat index values. Again, the sun's been down more than an hour. It still feels like 96 in the capital city with the high humidity and the extremely warm temperatures. Outside now from the Capitol Federal Sky Cam on Quentin Heights Hill. Our sky is partly cloudy overhead here. There are a few storms just off to our east and a cold front, cool front, moving through right now. Not terribly cold on the backside of it, but a wind shift. 89 degrees still at Billard Airport. Now let's check out the Capitol Federal Live Storm Tracker. You'll see a few spots of green here and there. This is close to the Doppler radar unit, and that's close to the cold front moving through as well. So that may not be precipitation, probably is not, but it does connect with this little batch of light precipitation in Marion County. And look over here, this activity across Missouri is attached to a cold front that extends into parts of Illinois. It has severe weather along with it, and even a couple of tornado warnings south of Chicago at this time. It's that same cold front that extends across our area, producing these tornado warnings near Wilmington, Illinois, close to Chicago, just South Chicago, but in our area, the atmosphere in the mid-levels is stable, and it's really been keeping anything from getting going. But we had the concern this evening, if that cold front could set off any storms, they could have gone severe, much like the stuff in Missouri. Probably not as rough as going on in Illinois, but that front does have severe weather along it, and it's moving through. We could have scattered storms at any point late tonight, and if we saw any severe weather, hail the size of quarters, probably worst case. Looking ahead the next few days, we'll have a chance of rain on Thursday after very hot conditions tomorrow, Wednesday at 95, heat index at 105. And then Friday, the Topeka Civic Theater will be at Washburn University with The Art of Murder. The conditions may have some rain by the end of the show. We're looking at temperatures falling in the mid-70s by 10 p.m., but that rain chance probably going to hold off until well after the event has gotten going. With phone number to find out about tickets, 357-5211.
Thanks, sir.
Sounds like fun. We're going to kick around a little soccer a little later in sports. Can the American women pull off a win against Colombia in the elimination round? Chris Lilly has the highlights from the match later in sports.
We will get to that shortly, and right after the break, a Topekan sharing his global fight, his part of it, against Ebola. He'll share his story, and we'll share it with you next.
You're watching 13 News at 10 with Melissa Bruner and Ralph Hipp. 13 News, Kansas News Leader. You're watching 13 News, Kansas News Leader.
A local nurse at the front line of the Ebola outbreak in West Africa shared his story in Topeka tonight.
His name is Joey Scaletta, and Joey is a nurse with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, described being in the frontline battle against Ebola. Scaletta volunteered for 7 weeks with Partners in Health as part of the response. He told the audience at the library tonight he'd worked in 2 different settings and scenarios, one a community containment unit, and the other was an Ebola treatment unit where he provided direct patient care. Scaletta says we should not look at Ebola as a West African disease, but a global problem.
We live in a global society. A public health threat anywhere is a threat to us at home. Ebola is a symptom of the greater disease, and that disease of the disease of poverty. Without an existing public health structure, it was very hard to get a grip on this outbreak.
And everyone in attendance also learned how they too could volunteer in West Africa.
A Topeka hospital has retained its rating for high-level trauma care. The American College of Surgeons re-verified Stormont Vail Healthcare as a Level 2 trauma center that is the second highest level. To earn the certification, the center must have 24-hour trauma surgeon coverage, plus coverage for specialties such as orthopedics, neurology, and radiology. Stormont says the verification assures patients and families they'll get the best possible care should a tragedy occur. The designation is valid through April of 2018. We'll be hearing from Kansas and Team Canada as they get ready for the World University Games coming up in sports.
Very exciting to see that tip-off. And the Kansas City Royals right now in a late game against the Mariners. How they were able to get the early lead next in 13 Sports.
Sports with Chris Lilly.
Hello everyone, Team USA. They've said it all along. The goal was to win a World Cup, and that's what they're dialed in on. And maybe a little extra motivation against a Colombia team who guaranteed a victory. Start off in the second half 0-0, and the United States looking to make something happen. That's Alex Morgan on the breakaway. She gets tripped up in the box. That will be a red card. Goodbye goalie. Colombia with 10 players the rest of the game because of the red card. That means a penalty kick. Abby Wambach will take it, and she misses everything. She can't believe it. The United States with a big chance there. Colombia still alive until the 53rd minute. Morgan will try again. She beats the new goalie this time, gets a nice bounce that falls into the net. 1-0 USA. The United States would add another goal to win 2-0, and they play China on Friday. The Kansas City Royals hitting the West Coast, and that means late night baseball. Starting off the road trip against the Seattle Mariners. There's the Kings Court, not to be confused with the K in Kansas City. This is for Felix Hernandez, who is known for just striking out everyone. Here he gets Kendrys Morales, needs some more B-Day mojo. Then Joe Blanton sees your strike and answers right back with a strikeout in the bottom of the first inning. Things changed quickly though. Robinson Cano still has the power, takes Blanton to deep center for the solo home run, 1-0 Seattle. But then Alex Rios trying to get back into the all-star picture, doubles home Salvador Perez to tie it up at 1 apiece in the second inning. Then Omar Infante, he will bring home Salvador. There it is, and they would lead 3-1 in the 5th inning. The Kansas Jayhawks a day away from representing their country in the World University Games. The Jayhawks would lose guard Devontae Graham, so they would add Florida Gulf Coast guard Julian DeBose, who joins SMU guard Nick Moore as the only non-Jayhawks. Both Kansas and Team Canada are ready to represent their countries.
I think it's all coming to fruition now as we get obviously a little closer to the day. The guys are thrilled and excited to not only represent, themselves, represent the University of Kansas, but obviously have an opportunity to represent their country.
Canada versus USA, I guess we're going to see where we are. We just got together. Our team's just been together for a couple of days now. We don't really know each other too well, so we're trying to build chemistry. So it's going to be a good stepping stone for us as a group, and hopefully it's a competitive game and it's a great game for both teams to get better.
Being here, I can say, is opened a lot of doors for us. And meeting the president is one thing, and then going over to Korea to represent our country is another thing. Like, it's pretty special, like I said before, and I'm just happy to have this opportunity.
That game's at 7 p.m. tomorrow. This week's High Five, sponsored by Toyota, has everything from great basketball shots, birthday home runs, and big-time former KU basketball players. Our first High Five goes to the second annual Brett Cowden Memorial Game. 2 years after Cowden passed away, the team he started, the Rossville Rattlers, won big against the Topeka Senators. The Rattlers had 3 solo homers in 1 inning on the way to winning 9-3. Kansas City Royals designated hitter Kendrys Morales will remember his 32nd birthday pretty fondly. Morales in the 5th inning broke a 4-4 tie over the Boston Red Sox with a home run. He has 3 home runs on his birthday. Royals skipper Ned Yost gets a 4.115. That's how many wins he would need to pass Whitey Herzog for #1 in Royals franchise history for wins, 411 against the Milwaukee Brewers. A Rock Chalk 5 goes to the 7th annual Rock Chalk Roundball Classic. Big names like Sacramento Kings' Ben McLemore showed up to slam home dunks for the fans. And one of the beneficiaries of the charity game, Levi Ross, won a car thanks to the help of McLemore. Our last High Five goes to Fred Van Vliet at the Little Hornets basketball camp at Emporia State. The Wichita State Shocker drains a shot from 3/4 court, and the campers mob him. What a shot. There you go, and that's it for sports. Ralph and Melissa, back to you.
There were some great shots into the bucket and into the seats over the past week, and Chris, thanks for showing those to us again.
And it was a sweaty weekend, no matter where you were. We're going to find out if the temps stay hot when we check back one more time with Jeremy next.
This is your 13 weather forecast.
This is a very hot day. Heat index values range from 105 to 110 at times. Salina actually at 114 this afternoon. Here's what we have going on out there now. It is a mostly cloudy sky in Topeka. There's a weak cold front moving through that may set off a storm or two. Low temperature 73. Most of us will be dry tonight. 91 tomorrow, a slight storm chance in the afternoon again. And our 8-day forecast, cranking up the heat again Wednesday, 95. Heat index 105 to 110. And then we have a chance of rain mainly early in the morning on Friday.
A few more 90s. Jeremy, thank you. The Salvation Army checking in with them again, and they've teamed up with Topeka Public Schools Child Nutrition Services and Topeka's Housing Authority, offering sack lunches during the week. Those sack lunches offered at 2 area parks had cheese and crackers and nuts, milk, and a juice box.
Echo Ridge and Pine Ridge averaging more than 30 students a day stopping by. Also, Raise Kansas, part of the United Way, is serving up books to keep kids reading during the summer months as well. We have the schedule for those lunch stops posted for you at WIBW.com. So glad you could be along with us tonight.
Indeed.
Hope you're staying cool, beating the heat. Stay tuned right now. We have more good programs up for you tonight.
We are shifting to a week of elementary. We'll get to that. And James Corden, 1 hour from now. Melissa and I will see you right here again from 13 News tomorrow night.
Get the latest news, weather, and sports on WIBW.com or follow WIBW on Twitter and Facebook. WIBW TV, Heartland Regional Emmy Award for Evening Newscast.